You're craving some good sci-fi entertainment? Something that is not related to Star Wars or Star Trek? Well, look no further. Denis Villeneuve, the visionary director who gave us films like Arrival and Blade Runner 2049, is very likely to adapt yet another universe for the big screen. We will now tell you everything you need to know about his upcoming Dune project. But as always, be aware that this video may contain spoilers. You have been warned.
What in the hell?
Dune by Frank Herbert was first published in 1965 and was met with critical acclaim and therefore followed by numerous other volumes. Herbert himself wrote 6 books that all dealt with a desert planet. The final volume was published a year before his death. His son Brian Herbert continued his legacy and expanded the Dune universe with multiple prequel volumes and other stories that were all based on his father's saga. The Dune universe is not your spaceship, space battle, or crazy technology kind of sci-fi. Herbert's universe is a lot more like a space version of the love child of Game of Thrones and House of Cards. Herbert tells interesting stories of intrigue, and everything revolves around the planet of Dune. This planet is home to the most precious resource in the universe, the drug spice.
He who controls the spice controls the universe.
It extends its users' life duration, gives them better health, and grants them supernatural abilities. Some are even able to look into the future. But regardless of all the positive aspects, spice is still a highly addictive drug. One-time users are immediately addicted, and withdrawal leads to a painful death. Nonetheless, spice is an important factor within this universe, especially when it comes to space travel, since navigators heavily rely on spice when embarking on a space journey.
I see 2 great houses. House Atreides, House Harkonnen feuding.
The planet Dune, or Arrakis, is run by the House of Harkonnen, as described in the first novel. The Emperor sent Leto, Lord of the House of Atreides, to the planet. He does not do this out of charity, though. Quite the contrary, actually. He fears the influence of the Atreides among all the other houses. This is why he rather sends an enemy to Dune, since the House of Harkonnen and the House of Atreides are in the middle of a bloody feud with one another. And the Emperor now hopes that the House of Atreides can be wiped out completely.
This is what I'll do to the Duke and his family.
The most important character of the story is Leto's young son Paul, who becomes a lonesome traveler on the desert planet Dune, following his father's death. There he stumbles upon the nomadic people of Freeman, who soon worship Paul as their messiah upon witnessing his precognitive abilities. Politics, religion, intrigue, science fiction, and giant sandworms are all essential part of the world of Dune. And yeah, we know that this was a very vague introduction to this universe.
No, don't hit me, please! I'm sorry, please don't hit me.
Villeneuve's Dune. There have been a total of 3 attempts to adapt the book before. Denis Villeneuve will now throw his hat into the ring, making him the 4th director to approach this giant. Villeneuve himself describes it as his personal dream project, thus keeping the anticipation high. His Dune is said to be the Star Wars for adults, whatever that means.
I don't know.
The script will be written by none other than Eric Roth, who already won an Academy Award for his script for Forrest Gump. Brian Herbert, son of Frank Herbert, confirmed to have already read the script. According to him, it merely covers the first half of the first book. Villeneuve himself stated that Dune is meant to be a 2-part film in order to do the complexity of the source material justice. After all, the plan is to kick off an entire Dune universe, which is why the rights for a TV series have also been sold already.
And when it arrives, it will shake the universe.
Not a lot has been revealed regarding the upcoming film. Call Me By Your Name star Timothée Chalamet, however, has been rumored to take on the role of Paul Atreides.
Long live the fighters!
The best film that was never made. Even long before Villeneuve's attempt, numerous other directors tried to adapt Dune. One of them was director Alejandro Jodorowsky, who is notorious for his esoteric and surreal films. Jodorowsky attempted to adapt Dune back in 1975 and really tried to put us all into the project. His proposed cast list alone was impressive. Orson Welles was set to play Baron Harkonnen, and legendary artist Salvador Dali himself was supposed to play the Emperor. But this is where the problems began. Apparently, Dali demanded a salary of $100,000 per hour. Jodorowsky was willing to accept these terms under one condition, that he would shoot all of Dali's scenes within an hour. He intended to use a mechanical dummy as a stand-in for additional scenes. As crazy as this plan may seem, it was only topped by Jodorowsky's script, which, according to Frank Herbert, was as thick as a phone book and covered enough material for 14 hours. In order to get his vision done, he hired French illustrator Mobius and Swiss artist H.R. Geiger in order to breathe life into the different sets, spaceships, and creatures. Unfortunately, the film never became reality. Jodorowsky spent $2 million from his estimated total budget of $9 million on pre-production. Ridley Scott was later hired to save the project, but by then, time was up for Jodorowsky's dream project. But this attempt brought Scott and Geiger together, who would go on to work on Alien. Concept art for the film acted as inspiration for the comic book Inkle, which was eventually published by Jodorowsky and Mobius.
Right?
The hated cult film. 1981 marked another attempt to adapt Dune. Eccentric director David Lynch was hired to bring the tale of the House of Atreides to the big screen. 1984 Dune was eventually released. The audience and critics alike, however, were not exactly pleased. It seemed too complicated for people who weren't familiar with the source material, and yet too derivative from the books to others. Since this Dune film was considered a failure, all future projects were subsequently cancelled. In a later published interview, Lynch admitted that he never should have made the movie in the first place, and that pressure from the producers forced him to complete the project. Interestingly enough, though, Dune has developed a cult following throughout the years.
It seemed the proper way.
The miniseries. In 2000, a 3-part miniseries called Frank Herbert's Dune aired on the Sci-Fi channel. It was actually critically acclaimed and engendered a sequel called Children of Dune. Both shows can be found on the list of the highest rated programs for this network.
In order for the Empire to survive, the spice must flow.
Now Denis Villeneuve's time has come. When exactly his version will hit theaters remains to be seen. But who knows, maybe this will kick off an entirely new cinematic universe. What do you think of Dune? Are you a fan of the book? Are you looking forward to the new film? Let us know in the comment section below. And for more original content, check out these videos.